Hello. So in this video right here, I'm going to be showing you guys how we can save lots of cash on this bad boy, on this laptop you see right now. We're going to be adding some coupons to it too, so the savings will be massive. So first we are going to talk about the computer itself, the specs. Compare the specs to something that could be comparable to it, which in this case it'll be itself. And lastly, I'm going to be showing you guys step by step of how to get more coupons on this bad boy. Pretty much how to apply the coupons, and that's it. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, let's look at the keyboard layout. It's nice, it's sleek. What I don't like personally is these big bezels on the side. I wish they could put like speakers on it or just make the keyboard, bigger, especially since they have these hotkeys here. It could have been something different, but honestly, as a gaming computer, this mute button could be game changer. I meant. It's going to be a nice grill of speakers in the front with some ventilation here and a nice mouse pad, which seems to be, kind of off-centered. Now, the chassis itself, it's going to have a big badonkadonk at the very back. But as one would know or understand that gaming laptops need cooling to be optimal, they need, graphics cards, processors to be optimal. So that's why there's that. As we can see in the back, there's two huge ventilation sections for all that hot air that's going to be blowing out. In terms of I/O, on one side, which might be the left side, we are going to have the audio jack and an Ethernet port. I think that's great. On the other side, it's going to be two USB ports, and we'll get into the specifics of the ports in a bit. And amazingly enough, on the back, it's going to have obviously power, charging HDMI, and one more USB port, and then a USB-C. And that's pretty much it. On the visuals, it will have a camera too, so let's get into that, the specifics. Okay, let's look at the price before we get into the nitty-gritty. Clearly, as you can see, it was up for retail value was up for $2,200, $2,200. Right now it's on clearance, and it's now for $1,400, $1,500, and you save a big whopping $700. That's insane. If you stick around, I will show you how we could save just a little bit more to almost reach $1,000 worth of savings. So let's get into it. Right, so here are the specs. We have the AMD Ryzen 9 HX. We also have the AMD Radeon RX 6850M XT. Fantastic. It is going to be a 17-inch display at 1080 with a beautiful 3060 Hz panel. I love that. It's not a touchscreen. It does have a 1 ms response time, so that'll be great for competitive gaming. 16 gigs of memory, DDR5 too, fantastic. And then a PCIe NVMe SSD of a storage of 1000 gigabytes, a terabyte. Now here are the actual specifics of the ports if you're into that stuff. I'm not gonna read it out loud, but as you can see, it is up there, top quality. For a camera, it's going to be a 720p at 30 fps HD camera. Now I'm not too sure why they have two. I don't think the computer comes with two, but if it does, that's cool. And if it doesn't, that's because maybe you could customize or upgrade this thing. Here are the speakers, which is stereo, and then here is the charging and battery specs. Okay, now since we read and looked at all the specs of it, let's touch upon the processor first, the Ryzen 9 6900 HX. Now, thanks to XDA developers for this fantastic article, we can see here that this processor matches general performance of the Intel Core i9 12900HK, which by all means, it's not a bad processor. It does run a little bit hot, especially in some laptop cases, some chassis, so be aware of that. And if you want to see more comparisons of this processor with any other processor, I highly suggest just input this processor in Google versus whatever processor you're more fond of. Okay, so looking for the graphics card, we have this, right? The AMD Radeon RX 6850M XT. Now, the way that I compared it is comparing this laptop to itself, but not necessarily. See, this one here on Best Buy, it's actually a little bit more expensive than Dell itself, right? The difference is that this one doesn't have the AMD graphics card. It has NVIDIA, the 3070 Ti. Similarly, I did find it on Amazon as well. And again, it has the 3070 Ti rather than the AMD graphics card. And it's a little bit cheaper too than both Best Buy and Dell. So with that said, what I did was compare the 3070 Ti with this graphics card. And that's what we have here. Thanks to GPUcheck.com, it pulled up all these sorts of graphs and numbers and data, which I will be going with you. Now again, paper performance could differ from real life performance, but at least you'll get the baseline, you'll get an idea of how good or bad this graphics card is. So as you can see, they both came out in the same year. It seems like this one's a little bit more power hungry since the recommended power supply is 165 rather than 115, which if we go back, we have enough for the graphics card. Now they used the Intel Core i9 to do some of these benchmarks with the card, so bear that in mind. As you can see, they both qualify for ultra quality settings, and here are pretty much the average FPS for 1080p. It's 170 compared to 126, and 1440p 128 compared to 94. The memory is also spot on because this one does have 12 gigs and this one does have 8 gigs. Now let's get into gaming. So the green boy is AMD and the yellow boy is NVIDIA. And as you can see, they both are competitive towards one another. Matter of fact, it seems like AMD is winning on most cases. On 1080 and ultra quality, I believe if we go down to 1440 and ultra quality, again, it seems like AMD is doing a really good job here. Now again, it is a laptop for such price. It's really nice, it's really good. Now, thank you for listening to me to ramble on. I know I wasn't very technical or sciencey, but let's get on to how to get a bigger of a discount. So we're gonna go ahead and add it to the cart. Proceed, because I don't want any accessories or protection. Alright, so we are here at the checkout page. As you can see, there's already a clearance sale of $700 off, right? So my estimated total is here. Or if you don't necessarily care about the taxes and stuff, this is my total. What I want you to do is add this coupon right here. Bam! As you can see, we added $30 off more. Now you might be like, well, that's not even a lot. Well, to be fair, that's gonna cover some of the tax, so it's a really big help. Lastly, this one right here, this code right here, go ahead and apply gaming15. Bam! As you can see, we added, we took off $225 off. That's right, so we have a total savings of $950 with 50 cents. The computer comes out to be around $1,200. Personally, any computer with such good processor and beefy graphics card, just compare it to this price range and see if you could come out with something that's comparable to this computer. That's pretty much it. We almost hit $1,000 worth of savings for this computer. For this computer right here. All of this right here. So that's pretty much it, guys. I will ask you to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more and better savings. Now with that said, please comment any constructive criticism. Comment whether you think this processor is not even good at all, it's the best. Same thing with the graphics card or this computer in general. Anything will help out, myself, others too who are making the decision to buy a new laptop. So with that said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.